How do we stop this madness? This is the mortgage banking live stream. Welcome. This is the mortgage banking live stream. Today is April 6th, 2023. I'm Troy Garrishorn. We talk politics, we talk business, we talk regulations. If you have any questions, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this video. You can get notifications when the new one comes out. A couple shouts out as we get going here. First of all, happy Easter to everybody. This is going to be a great weekend. I got told yesterday that it's a long weekend actually for the schools. What a great thing. This should be a good weekend. TMBA advocacy just finished up in Austin, Texas. That was a great event. Thanks to everybody that was participating, everybody that was able to come out to Austin. So much appreciated. Sissy Larkin, John Fleming, Claire Barber, everybody who was at the helm involved in putting that together. Of course, the Texas MBA staff, a fantastic staff, and you can't get any better than that. MBA Advocacy Day is coming up. This is the National MBA. It's going to be in Washington, D.C., of course. That's on the 18th and 19th of this month. If you can get there, you should be there. This is a pivotal time in our industry that we need to be out talking to our regulators. We need to be out talking to our legislators. We need to be out talking to people who make differences and changes and impact your lives. You need to be out there and making sure that they know who you are and what you do and how you support this economy, how you support this industry, how you support the communities that you live in. Some shouts out here. Some great people that always there for me, always supporting. Jeff Boland, thank you so much. Pam Jenkins, thank you so much to both of you. It was great seeing you just the other day. Claire Barber, great seeing you as well. And again, thank you for all that you do in that event that was just down in Austin. Fantastic. Chance Mann, Sissy Larkin, Rhiannon Bolin, the Bolins, fantastic power couple in our industry. We'll see you this weekend. That'll be fun. Doreen Gusar, Ed Miller, Sherry Crooks, so many great people on here. I just can't keep listing. Everyone will take up the whole show here, but I do want to say to everybody who helps and supports and sends ideas and asks questions and everybody, just thank you. Let's talk politics for a second. I just want to say there's a great op-ed in yesterday's Wall Street Journal. You should check this out. And if you don't get the journal, you should be getting the journal. In fact, if you don't get the journal, you just don't get it. Yesterday's journal, there's an op-ed by a couple of gentlemen, Mark Penn and Andrew Stein. The name of the headline of that op-ed is Trump Indictment Accelerates America's Race to the Bottom. And I'll tell you, this is something, it's not what it sounds like from the headline. This is two people talking about the problems that are occurring in our country today. And we need to get on top of this because there really are some serious problems. And they talk about, and this is from both sides of the aisle, they talk about use of the criminal justice system to prosecute political opponents on flimsy charges. There, one could say, well, we're talking about Trump here and the charges that were just brought against him in New York. That a lot of people would suspect are pretty weak, but also I think a lot of people would suspect are really designed to put the presidential election for 24 in a particular vein and influence that election. Funny that they were talking about prosecuting somebody for trying to adversely influence an election improperly when that's in fact exactly what they're doing. But it also talks about it goes through a number of different items here. Right-wing groups assaulting the Capitol, free speech being censored by bureaucrats, being censored by mobs on universities, being threats out there, people being canceled for free speech, engaging in free speech, which is what in fact holds this country together. In fact, I would say that there's nothing more important in the Constitution than free speech. That's the First Amendment, and it's first for a reason. We need to be able to have free speech. People need to be able to talk. People need to be able to discourse. And without that, this whole thing falls apart. But it also goes all the way back to the prior administration, even before Trump, to Barack Obama personally upbraiding Supreme Court in the Citizens United case for its holding, the government weaponizing the IRS to go after conservative groups, FBI's interference in the 2016 election, equal protection being assaulted all over the country, equal protection in the name of equal protection being assaulted, and again, people shutting down conversations about even those types of conversations. Prosecutors declining to prosecute charges in a variety of different criminal contexts, like serious criminal contexts, but on the other hand, spending tons of time, tons of money going after political opponents. We got to stop this, people. We have the power in our hands. We need to stop the craziness that is going on and take back our country. And that sounds like somebody that might be ranting about this on Facebook or that sort of thing. But I'll tell you, this really is a serious problem. And people really do need to be paying attention, because a lot of us, I think, are sitting on the sidelines, especially in social media, and especially with the loudness, the vigor with which people can get really what is small messages amongst small people shouting out to the populace because of the power of social media. We really need to take into account that social media is extremely powerful, and so a tiny minority can be a very loud voice in this space, and if nobody else is out there to challenge them, then that tiny group of people from whatever side of the aisle, from whatever tiny little piece of any side of the aisle, they can really overcome and take the country in ways that you and I don't want it to be. Let's talk business for a second. A little bit of a down show today, but I'll try to bring this up in the end. IMB's just this information just out. IMBs, so independent mortgage bankers, lost on average now, right? Remember what averages mean. Averages don't really mean a whole lot, because if you have somebody who makes $1 this year, somebody makes $100 this year, those two people, the average $50. Nobody made $50. There's one company that's got $100, another company's got $1, and that average between those don't really mean a whole lot. So you got to remember this is an average, but IMBs on average lost in 2022 $301 per loan. Now that's compared with the same number, the same average, $2,339 in the black in 2021. So again, $301 loss per loan in 22, $2,339 profit in 21. That's a big jump. And so many people, of course, are feeling that. So many people know it, but it's interesting and important to figure out what those numbers really are, because people need to be thinking about this and also trying to figure out how to right size and make their companies profitable. First time since 2008 that the mortgage industry, the independent mortgage bankers, have been in the red like that. Now, I will say that on the servicing side was better in 2022. In fact, the same survey suggests that the servicing net income actually doubled in 22, so that's a good sign. Companies doing both origination and servicing, only 32% of those reporting were profitable in 22. So a mixed bag, and as always, a bit cyclical, but some important, serious items that we need to be paying attention to. Mortgage apps down week over week, 4.1%. After 4 weeks of up activity, this week was slower. And MBA's chief economist Mike Fratantoni said spring is here, but the housing market is not yet seeing the results of a strong spring. Let's talk regulation for a moment, because as you know, this is a matter that's near and dear to my heart. My law firm does a lot of regulatory work. We do a lot of enforcement defense work. We do a lot of other mortgage banking type work. But the Texas MBA, like I mentioned, was down visiting the Capitol, and we had some good meetings down there. And the MBA is doing a similar type of so-called March on the Hill in later this month. And you really do need to be there. If you weren't at TMBA, you should have been. If you're not at MBA, you should be. This is important activities that they're engaged in, and it's a way that they support us in a way that you can actually do a lot of the supporting, even if you can't go. So let's say, for example, your company has cut all budgets. You can't even go to Washington, D.C. I'd say, well, first go on your own dime, but if you can't, I'd say then you can make a difference right where you live, because the people in Washington, D.C., they represent you in your local districts. And you can have a very positive impact by being one of the relatively few people that even reach out to the legislators and explain to them who you are and what you do and how the mortgage business works and why it's so important, how that housing is a bedrock of our economy. All those things that people are worried about can be bolstered by the housing market if we just make it make sense. So you should do that. Again, no matter where you are, and you should always be doing that. But especially think of it now, because so many people are putting a lot of hard effort into that. Let's turn to the CFPB for a moment, and then I'm going to check out. CFPB has been very active recently. And some people might say, well, it's because it's spring. Some people might say, well, it's because we don't know what the next presidential election is going to bring around. And the CFPB these days sits at the pleasure of the president. And so there could be some impetus to try to get a lot of things done by the current director. So just a short list of items in the past week or so. First of all, the CFPB appealed the Townstone decision. This is that district court case that my law firm is involved in, a fair lending case in Chicago. And the U.S. District Court found in favor of Townstone, ruled on a COA in a particular specific matter. It said the statute was clear, and CFPB had a significant period to appeal and has now decided to appeal that case. So that will go up to the Seventh Circuit. We will have to wait and see what that further decision is. And personally, well, I won't say it, but I have a lot of firm views on this, as you can imagine, and I'm happy to talk about it if somebody wants to talk offline. CFPB also sued two individuals personally for $40 million, alleged false fraudulent transfers in connection with a company and some cases that were brought previously. So this is another one of those two-time loser type arrangements where the CFPB goes in, talks to somebody, does a settlement, does a consent order, throws its weight around, extracts a settlement out of somebody, and then goes back a second time, this time against the two individuals personally. CFPB also issued guidance on what it considers to be abusive behavior under its unfair, deceptive, and abusive practices regulations, and so that actually is an important development. You should take a look at that. If you want to talk about it again, happy to chat. Finalized the rule for collecting data on small businesses. So once again, going down that rabbit hole of allegations of discrimination in this area in business lending, and so what they're doing is they're building up data collection, and it's based on particular categories, which I agree that data collection is important, and I agree that, and I'm sure that everybody here agrees that discrimination based on a variety of categories is improper and shouldn't be done. What I worry about is the way that this data is misused, and even how the data is mischaracterized, because a lot of the classifications, a lot of the data that's being collected and the way that it's being collected is simply preposterous and false and wrong, and that is going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem until we fix it. So let's fix it. Also, relatively recently, and I know I've talked to a lot of people about this, but CFPB is also currently collecting information on the LO Comp rule, the Loan Officer Compensation rule, And so you have a chance to submit comments to tell the CFPB how the LO comp rule is working right, how it's working wrong, some ways that we could fix it, tweak it, try to change it to make it make more sense. So it's good for consumers, good for business, good for industry, and you have the opportunity. Again, if you sit on the sideline, you don't do anything, and you just let rules and laws happen, they will happen in a way that you probably don't want. But there are dynamic ways that you can get involved, and you should be getting involved. Happy Easter, everybody. Thank you for all the support. This is Mortgage Banking Live Stream. I'm Troy Garris. See you soon.